And hello, everyone. Hope you're well. Welcome to the first episode of the Metamorphosis Unleashed podcast dedicated to health, wellness, and fitness and everything in between. My name is Coach Walter Sellers. I'm the owner and CEO of the Butterfly Effect Studio for Training. And the dancing lady over there is Dale Short.
Something about that music that just gets you started, gets you going.
Good. I'm glad. We wanted, first of all, this is new for us. We're doing a little podcast because I think in today's day and time we need better information, and what we are dedicated to bringing is just that. The more information, the better, to help you be able to make the best decision you can with regards to your health, wellness, and fitness. We're going to explore a vast number of topics over the coming weeks, months, and years, and hopefully we're able to impact you in a positive way. So please like, share, subscribe to the channel and to this podcast. And we'll kick it over to Dale, tell her about herself, and then we'll talk about me, how we met, and then we'll get into our first subject.
Okay, so my name is Dale Short. I'm 60 plus years old. I'm not going to say the exact number, but I'm over 60 and I'm proud of it. Recent retiree, been retired now for a little over almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years next month, actually, that I will be retired. Been thinking about retirement for a long time. I've worked for NASA as an HR manager and did a lot of training, a lot of talking to supervisors about illegal things or things they needed to change and what they were doing and how they were managing their folks. Met Walter through God. It was just a godsend, honestly. I've had years and years and years of trying to get myself healthy, trying to figure out the right things to eat, what to eat, to work out till I'm just dead tired, just doing all kinds of crazy things. And then a friend of mine suggested that we get a personal trainer. And it just so happened I was looking for a personal trainer. And she suggested, hey, there's somebody I know that knows somebody that's a personal trainer, did a great job with her. And why don't we just maybe call him and see if he'll take both of us on at the same time and we can work out together. Oh, sounds like a great plan. So I reached out to him, and in between my reaching out to him, which wasn't a long time, and me talking to him, my friend decided that it wasn't something that she could do. And so I could at that moment say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I've had my fill of personal trainers. I don't need another one. But I didn't. I was pretty determined to get myself on the right track. And so I had met another trainer also, had talked with him, and had gotten to a place to where it was like, okay, I need you to go to a local big box gym and get a membership there so I can work you out there. And that's not what I wanted. I didn't feel like I should have to go get a membership somewhere in order to work out somewhere with a personal trainer. I'm thinking the trainer would be the person that would help me work out in the best way possible. Nothing that's going to cost a lot of money. The trainer I already knew was an investment, but now I got to invest into a big box gym in order to get the training. And that just wasn't kosher for me. But at the same time, I was pretty desperate, decided to go ahead and just do it again, sign up with this big box gym. And I hate them because I've always felt less than when I'm walking in there. I always felt like I was being looked at or laughed at because of my size or because I was trying to figure out a machine that I couldn't really understand. It just was never a positive experience for me. And so because of that, I really didn't want to do it, but I was, like I said, I was desperate. So I was driving and I pulled into the driveway of the big box gym, and my car phone rang, and lo and behold, it's Coach Walter. And so we started talking, and I was telling him that I was sitting in the parking lot and I was getting ready to get a membership. And the first thing he said was, "Me, you don't have to get one." And I was like, I don't have to get one. I am so happy if I don't have to get one. And so for me, that immediately relieved the whole idea of being in some place and I'm being scrutinized, looked at, laughed at, and that, so that kind of left me, and I really felt like, okay, this might be a better opportunity for me. So, okay, so what's the deal? What are we going to do? And now I'm thinking, oh, okay, and now I've got to go. Now I'm going to be in the middle of a park where everybody in the whole world will be able to see me. But no, it wasn't that at all. He was like, nope, I'm going to come to you, and we'll start on Friday. Are you good for Friday? I was like, sure, I'm good for Friday. So uh, happy, and I said, okay, this is my investment, so I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be ready on Fridays. Friday was my off day, and that Friday I woke up and I was like, oh God, this man is coming to my home. I don't really have a gym home. I don't have large spaces. Um, but everything and anything was working against me, but I also knew that I hadn't picked up the phone and called this man and say, hey, don't come. I'm not willing to do this just yet. I wasn't there, but I also wasn't ready to have him come into my little home and have him judge my small spaces, right? And so then it was like, okay, well, he's coming. By the time I had gotten resolved that I was going to call him, well, he was on his way. It wasn't like I had a choice then, right? So, and that's generally how I've allowed things in my life to happen, right? Just life just forces me into what I don't want to do, but then it kind of works out, right? And so I see this car come driving in my driveway, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, he's here. He's here. Oh my goodness. And let me just say right now, I'm single. I'm a single female. So I've got needs like everybody else, right? And so this joker gets out the car and I'm like, damn. Oh my God. It's like, I done hired this fine man, sight unseen. I'm not gonna be able to focus. And he comes walking, and he's real muscular and everything. And I'm just like, okay. And then he turned around quickly and went back to his car. And I was like, oh, well, maybe something happened. Maybe he's not gonna be able to come. And I see him, he goes to his trunk and he comes out with a kettlebell. And I was like, damn, he is for real. Oh my God. Okay, 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 okay. Get your mind right, sis. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. And so it started working out every Friday, and initially it was hard. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to do it. And but he just brought the fun into it. I didn't feel like I was being scrutinized or looked at, or I didn't feel inferior. I didn't feel like um this man was just going to take my money, just have me do a couple of push-ups, sit-ups, whatnot, and just take my money. It didn't feel that way. So getting into it, he'd always come in with this hype attitude, and I was just like, wow, how can I get to this hype attitude, right? And then I had to tell him, I was like, I'm thinking about retiring. I'm going to Florida, whatever, whatever. And but the one thing that just kept sticking to me was he would always come in this hype attitude, and with more weights every single and with more weights. And I'm like, I don't have space to put this weight, but okay. Every time I turned around, it was a heavier weight. And I was like, this man didn't realize I can't do this. But before I knew it, I was doing it. And
Hmm.
then the other thing that used to get me was he would leave it behind. He wouldn't take the weights back with him. He'd leave them and go, use these during the week when you're doing your exercise program. I'm like, okay. So here we go. I got a personal trainer now. I now have weights in my home that I didn't have.
Hmm.
I have a trainer that's very encouraging, and I had to just be open to the process. That was the thing, right? And so, but being open to the process means a lot of things. And so, I've had my ups and my downs throughout it, and I still do. But the other thing is, body dysmorphia that was kicking in. It's just so many different things were happening, but I finally got to a place, got into a rhythm now, and I've relocated near the butterfly effect, not close enough, but near. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just been a great, great experience for me, not just mentally, but also physically, because throughout all of this, I still, had to go see my doctors. We all
Hmm.
go see our doctors, we all get blood work, and we all get
Hmm.
these conversations. And I kept getting these conversations about, the short, you got to do better. Your blood sugar is up, your high blood pressure is in. We've got to get that stuff down. We've got to get it under control. And hearing that, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I feel okay. I'm doing okay. Nothing's aching, nothing's paining. I'm not bleeding internally. It's just all these different things. And so you hear it, but then you kind of ignore it, but then you kind of try to do a little something, something. But then I just found myself in a routine
Hmm.
that isn't invasive, that I can do. But you also have your down days and your up days, and but the thing that I think that's the most critical thing about it is that it's become a habit, that I'm always thinking about what I can do movement wise, what I can do, what I can do, what I can do. And even though I'm in Minnesota and it's negative 21 degrees,
Ooh.
I find a ways to do some wall push-ups. I find some ways to do some leg raises, just a little bit of everything and
Uh-huh.
anything that I can do to just keep the movement going. And I've noticed that that has kept me maintained because I got my body beads on. Nothing's feeling tight. They're actually
Hmm.
feeling a little looser. So I feel good
Hmm.
about that. Um, but yeah, that's how I got to where I am now. So I'll leave it there.
That's a lot.
I know it's a lot.
I was going to ask some questions, but you kind of pull it up. You know, what do you think the biggest thing was? Because we're going to tie this to a future part of this talk we have today. What do you think was the tie that made you decide to stay on the path? What was it that made you decide to keep on after we had the first couple sessions and you were sore as hell and you were just mad at the world, yelling at me, talking about, dude, I don't know about this, dude. Am
It's so true.
I
It's so
supposed to do
true.
it like this?
It's
What
so
was it that
true.
made you decide to push through and keep going?
Honestly, it was your accountability. I had never had a personal trainer that would. I promise you, I'm not lying about this. We all have a social life, and so I kid you not when I say, from the time I started working with Walter, even though I didn't tell him, he would say to us all the time. He would say to me, if you're going out to eat, just give me a call. Let me know what's going on. Tell me what restaurant you're going to. I'll look at the menu. We can talk about what you can eat. Yada yada yada. Never had that happen. Never had an experience with a personal trainer that would do that. And so I would hear it, but it'd go out the other ear, because I know he's gonna say, well, you can't have any drinks, and you really shouldn't have, the macaroni and cheese and whatnot. So why would I call him and tell him where I'm going? Because it's like telling on myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't call you. But damn it if you didn't call me. Not
Mm-hmm.
that you knew I was going out. It was just
Nope.
something in the air where you just call a check in to
Yep.
see how I'm doing, and you hear the rustling of dishes and the conversations in
Mm-hmm.
the background, and you would say, "Where are you at right now? Where are you
Right.
at right now?" And I'd be like, "Damn." But here's the good part about it was I wasn't embarrassed to tell you what I was eating
That's
because
true.
I sat there and I thought about what it was I could eat, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I know if nothing else, when I'm in a restaurant, a salad is always the safe thing for me to eat. The important thing is don't get the dressing. And I've switched to lemon. And it's amazing how good lemon tastes on a fresh salad. And
Mm-hmm.
you can have the extra, the beets, and you can have the a little bit of the corn or something that comes on this mammoth salad that they have, and you're not going to eat it all anyway. um but it was that kind of thing. It was the hype attitude every time I saw you. It was the calling me even though um I knew I should be calling you. I didn't call you when I was in a restaurant. It was also going, I think I talked with you. I had a friend that lost a friend, lost his parent actually, and I had to go down to Southern Virginia That means the South. That means fried chicken,
Mm-hmm.
greens, and potato salad, and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff was going to be served at the repast. And I knew I was going to be hungry because we're driving from here, going straight there, and then going through the funeral and everything, and going to the repast. But I packed my lunch because
Exactly.
that was something you said. You said, "Dad, well, just pack yourself lunch, and you'll be okay." And so when I packed my lunch, I was really self conscious about bringing a lunch to
Right.
repast. But I said, I've got to know if I'm going to do this, I've got to do it. I've got to face all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
these personal, internal insecurities I have about how I eat in front of who I'm eating and all that kind of stuff. I had to deal with that. And so I had bought earlier in the year a lunchbox that wasn't too big, wasn't too small. That's also a challenge, right? You want to
Right.
get a lunchbox that fits everything that you want, but then you don't know exactly, you don't want it to be too big because then you look like
Defeats the
what you
purpose.
eat, right? But then you don't want it too small because then you're not getting enough, right?
Right.
So you got to find this. I found this crazy looking lunchbox at this place called Bucky's, which is a which is a gas station down south. It's a humongous gas station. And anyway, I packed my lunch in that. And I just had, a couple of boiled eggs for breakfast. And then I had um, a yogurt and I think a half a sandwich for
Mm-hmm.
lunch. I can't remember, it was a tuna packet, something like that. And I had a lot of veggies and a couple of pieces of fruit in my lunch. And I sat down at the repast and everybody was like, wow, um, you brought your lunch to a repast? And I'm like, yeah, I've got to watch what I'm eating right now, and I was waiting for all the judgments.
Mm-hmm.
But what I got instead was, that is really, I got like, wow, she's serious. That's impressive.
That's it.
That's cool. I should do better. What I started hearing from other folks was, I should do better.
Uh-huh.
As they're passing the hot sauce down with the fried fish and the fried
Right.
chicken.
And that's what happens.
But that's, yeah, it was such a learning moment for me in terms of understanding that um, what I eat is my business. And if I choose to pack a lunch, I'm okay with packing a lunch.
That's right.
Um, and the world will be okay and I'll be okay. And it was a great example. So it was all these little things that became little wins for me
Mm-hmm.
in terms of just things that you were telling me to do. Even though, like I said, I fought you enough, quite a bit actually.
You
But
know, the
um,
little changes, right? It's the little
it's the
things, right?
little
It's
things. It's
always
those
the
little
little things.
things.
Everyone
Mhm.
in this space always thinks that you got to make some big, huge, dramatic change to fix it. Yeah, no, it's a couple of small habits, a couple of small things that you got to do, and once you get them down,
It's easy.
it's easy.
It really is easy. Because I
Good.
find myself packing my lunch whenever I know I'm going to be away from the house,
Mm-hmm.
past the lunch hour, right? I make sure I've got something in there for me that's healthy for me to either drink a small protein shake or make myself a little something to have to munch on if I want something more with a little bit more bite to it than just
Mm-hmm.
drinking something, which is usually what happens when I'm coming back from the gym because
Right.
I live an hour and a half away from the gym, folks. But I make that commute every time because that's where my level of
Commitment to
call
your
it commitment, desperation, habit forming. I
it's
don't know.
desperation, right? It's not desperation. It can't be desperation because we're not in a desperate case.
No, I'm not in a desperate place
Right.
anymore.
We're in a situation where you get to decide how the rest of your life is going to unfold.
Yeah, that's very true
You
but I couldn't
know?
do that until I retired.
Exactly.
And
That level of stress you had, man. That job was stressful.
it's very stressful. And I think we as humans don't realize to what extent stress really, and we'll talk about this at a later time again about
Mhm.
stress, but it does really, it is a sneaky, silent killer.
Absolutely.
And you have got to get that stress. If you can't get it away from you, get it under control. And what I've learned is working out gets it under control
Facts.
to
And
a
I'll
certain
lead to a
extent.
lot of times because punching people in the face isn't legal.
It's
So I
not
just wait.
legal. Well, you want to, but many a time it's not legal. And so you can't do that. So you have to figure it out, right? And so
Right.
stress, for me, I've always internalized stress.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody deals with stress differently. And
That's right.
for me, it was internalizing it. And working out has helped me bring it out to a certain extent. But
Hmm.
again, I have a lot of different things that I'm dealing with that have taken 60 plus years to address. And
Sure.
I'm addressing them now. And as they crumble, I'm finding myself getting stronger and more habit forming in the right positive ways.
And
That's
freer,
what's great.
right?
Mhm.
Right? Because
Oh, absolutely.
discipline. I think Jocko Willink says discipline is freedom, and disciplining your mind and your body makes your life freer. It makes you, it gives you more latitude to live the way that you want to live. I think that we constrict ourselves so much by eating and life and work when all we have to do is control those little variables, and we can literally redetermine how our ship sails. So I think
Yeah.
that's awesome.
But
That's
it can be challenging for an emotional eater like myself, right?
sure.
Been that
A
way since
lot of
I was
it.
a child.
Yeah.
And so, but what I've learned is, when I'm feeling that emotion, what can I do instead of running to the kitchen or running to the pantry, to grab something to munch that feeling away, or it's really about busyness too, right?
Hmm.
It's about what can I do to keep myself busy. Well, food, I can preoccupy myself with food to keep myself busy. Or if I'm not near food, I try to find something else. I'll try to read, which again,
Hmm.
but that's making me complacent, right?
Hmm.
So reading is always a way to escape, but you can't escape what it's doing to your body. Not that reading is a bad thing, but you've got to put it in its right perspective and utilize it as a. I utilize reading now as a reward
Hmm.
to from me spending a good amount of my time really focusing on exercising and looking at what I'm eating, and that can be taxing. It's a lot, but
Sure.
once it becomes more, the more habit forming it becomes, you're not thinking about it as much.
Hmm.
But for me, in order for me to stay on top of it, I have to think about it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's again, that's how I kind of work with it as much as I can.
Okay. I get that. Well, that's good. So we're going to take a quick break for a commercial,
Okay.
and then we'll be right back on the other side.
Okay.